Hello, everyone. I'm Dan.
And I'm Riley.
And welcome to the next episode of That One Podcast.
Today, we are joined by our first repeat guest on That One Podcast, Pastor Mike from Rock Prairie Church. And he brought along, whether it was willingly or not, David, who's the worship pastor at Rock Prairie as well. And we talk about just Christmas in general, what they're doing at Rock Prairie, but then also talk about, the emotional side of Christmas and the holidays. And they give some practical advice from somebody who may be struggling this time of year, whether you're lonely, issues with family, whatever it may be. Just a great conversation to provide some hope heading into the holiday season.
All right, let's get into the next episode.
All right, Mike, David, thank you so much for joining me on That One Podcast. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we jump into what we're here to talk about, if you both want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about who you are and who you represent today.
Yeah, my name's Mike Nafziger. I'm the senior pastor at Rock Prairie Church here in Tipton. And this is my second time on the Tipton One podcast.
I think you're our first repeat guest, so congratulations.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Highly honored.
Yeah.
I also heard or saw the Good Bones lady on. I thought, this is no small deal anymore.
No.
So my second time here, what am I going to do? I've got to invite the biggest celebrity I know. That's why I invited Pastor David to join me.
What an introduction.
Right. Yeah. He's leaving the church and says, "Hey, you want to be in a podcast?" I'm like, "No." And then
Here we are.
Yeah.
That was about 5 minutes ago.
That was about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Funny how that works out. So you're obviously with the church as well.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm the worship pastor at Rock Prairie. Been there for 12 years.
Awesome. So today we're here to talk about Christmas, what's happening at Rock Prairie Church for Christmas, but also we're going to have a deeper conversation about what the holidays mean for people, and that can mean a bunch of different things. Obviously, people like to get excited about the holidays and Christmas, but there are people that this time of year is a struggle for them. So we're going to kind of talk about that deeper emotional side of things today. But before we do that, what does Christmas look like for both of you in terms of your church traditions, personal family traditions? What does this time of year mean for both of you?
Yeah. David, I'll have you start.
Well, it's a very busy season, certainly for the church. So we have lots of things going on. We got Christmas Eve service we're preparing for. So there's a lot of extra things like that. Family-wise, my wife comes from a family that really goes all out for Christmas. And so, which is really, it's fun to be part of. So there's a lot of planning going on and some late nights and, just trying to get everything in order before the time comes.
Yeah, I think it's, I would say there's a real, I don't know if dichotomy is the word. I was talking about this in my sermon on Sunday. I was talking about peace. Talking about Christmas is this time of year. It's a season that promises peace, but then also often fails to deliver peace. And so everyone has this vision in their head of the perfect Christmas Eve in front of the fire with the tree all lit up and family. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's not always so peaceful. But at the church, we try to remember what is most important about Christmas. That's, we believe, the birth of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, born as a baby. And so we try to make as big of a deal of that as possible. And so there's some kind of different things that we do throughout the month. As I know, other churches in our community are doing similar things. And we kind of feel like all together as the churches in our community, we want to partner to make as big a deal about Jesus as we can in times and seasons where people might be thinking about spiritual things more than they might throughout the rest of the year.
So. Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the Christmas Eve service, which is technically the 23rd.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Nice. So let's talk about that. I know Dan's behind me here. We were talking about it, and he's like, "Is that the 22nd or 23rd? What is Eve?
We've talked about Eve, but we thought we don't want to be too crazy.
Yeah.
So stick with Eve.
Yeah. What day is that? Yeah. So that's obviously one thing happening. What
Yeah.
else is happening at Rock Prairie this Christmas season?
Yeah, so we are doing, it's actually, we're doing something that we've done. This is the third year that we've done it now, and we have created a drive-through window nativity presentation, which is the best group of words that we've figured out of how to communicate what this actually is. I'm sure producer Dan is going to do an awesome job of splicing in some B-roll footage of it right now, or maybe not. Maybe just to spite me, he's going to actually just leave the camera right on me, but I think that'd be a great idea, not that I'm a producer. Anyways, and so what it is this is one of the reasons I want to bring David, is because David not only is our worship pastor, which does an incredible job at that, but also I guarantee he's going to try to be humble about it right now, but he's an incredible technological mind, because there's things that we've kind of talked about, maybe crazy ideas that I've thrown out with zero idea of how to actually accomplish them. And then David has been the brains behind figuring out how to actually make it work. So we have 8 projectors, 9 projectors that are all, I don't know, I'm going to try to describe it in layman's terms, but they're all tied together and timed together so that as you drive, so you pull your car into the Rock Prairie parking lot, there's that little half circle drive out front, and you scan a QR code, and then it pulls up an audio file, and the first projector will count down of just when you're supposed to hit play on that file. And so as soon as the countdown hits 0, you hit play, and then as soon as you hit play, the very next projector is going to start playing a video, and the audio will match up, and then that video is about 30 seconds long, and then it'll tell you to drive forward. You drive forward, and then at the same time, the next projector comes on and plays the next video, which is all timed with the audio. So you just got it. We don't know of anything else like this, and we looked because we have had a whole lot of technical issues, and so we've looked to try to find similar things to it, and we don't know of anything else like it. It's really something you got to kind of experience for yourself. The whole point is for us to understand what is Christmas really about. So we think the idea behind it is, as families are maybe driving around, maybe you're looking for something to do, drive around, look at Christmas lights in Tipton, which is one of our family's favorite traditions that we love to do. Just something that you can say, let's go check out Rock Prairie's presentation and do that. So. It
is unique, obviously. And I think from a way to tell the story of Christmas to people who might not know it, it can be something less intimidating than walking into a church. And maybe more entertaining, quote unquote, too, where it's not just, I'm going to come into church for the first time and be like, what am I doing here? This is so awkward, whatever it may be. It's very unique. From a technical side of things, how do you make this happen? We don't have to get super into the weeds, but I can imagine, from a timing standpoint and making sure it all works, can you just talk about that, how you've made that possible?
Prayer and frustration. Chat GPT. All right. That's pretty much how it started. Actually, I think the way we first started it was I saw someone doing something on a Halloween setup on a YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And it was after we kind of talked about how could this look. And so they had like a little USB stick stuck into a projector. And then they had this little remote control Wi-Fi blaster thing that would just basically it would be like somebody hitting a remote control in front of it, but it's just like this little thing plugged into the wall and hooks up to your Wi-Fi, and it can be on a timer. So that right there was like, well, we could figure out how to put something on a schedule. And so we tried. I don't remember how we tested it, but I think we first started with these 8 or 9 projectors, and each one had a USB stick in it, and the video was let's see, how did we do this? We just had to figure out how much time we wanted everyone to spend in front of each window. Yeah. And so how long does the overall thing need to be? What can be the indicators to make someone prompted to move to the next window? All right. I mean, so the whole thing. So we made them individuals at first. And then, so we just made every video the same length. And then we had to figure out how to start them all at the same time. And as long as we did that, they'd be flipping back and forth every 30, 40 seconds or something like that. Yeah. So that's pretty much the concept. So it went from USB sticks, which worked okay, but then we tried to make it more like more reliable. Still don't know if we've made it more reliable, but we're getting closer. So each one of those now is tied to a little Raspberry Pi computer.
Okay.
Because you can get that tied to its own clock, and that's not internet dependent. So, but there's still there's little things that happen that just make me go, I don't know why it's acting the way it is.
Yeah.
So it's like ChatGPT, what do we do about this? And spits out a whole bunch of code, and there we go. So that's kind of the idea.
Pretty crazy. And so like from me, the video just came out on Rock Prairie's Facebook page, actually kind of previewing it. So I was like, even just the small stuff of making sure the projector is flipped so that it's displaying the right way, like small stuff like that it is a very technological process, but it's very cool and unique to see something in Tipton like that.
Appreciate you saying that. So that's every night between 6 and 10, I believe is at the hour. So that's when it gets dark. And so you can drive through at any point. But on December 20th, we kind of do a big event where people will start by driving through the presentation, and then you can pull around and park in the other parking lot behind our church, and then come out, and then we'll have all sorts of things, nativity and animals and activities and different things like that. So that's kind of, so you can do it at any time, but the December 20th, if you're looking for something to do, bring your family out, that would be an awesome thing. And like you said, it is a great example of somebody is maybe thinking, you know what, I want to learn a little bit. Maybe you know someone you're not a believer yourself, but you know someone, you're like, I want to learn a little bit more about this. It's a great first step to then maybe, hopefully, get you comfortable to saying, you know what, maybe I will go to a Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve service or a Christmas Eve service, if there's any of those. But, so you're exactly right. That's kind of the thinking behind it. So,
why do you feel like doing traditions like these or events outside of the traditional just Christmas Eve service are important for a community like Tipton?
Yeah, I mean, it's right in that word, community. What is community if not spending time together? What is I don't want to get on a soapbox here. Every technological advancement that comes out seems to be designed to get people less in relationship with one another. And I think we all feel that now, maybe even more so than 10, 15 years ago. But this idea like social media, and it can have obviously I would not come on the Tipton One podcast and say social media is not important.
Stop watching this podcast right now.
It has its place, absolutely, especially as small town newspapers are dying left and right. How do we get information out to our community? So like when on the community level, social media can be very important. But in terms of, I think also everyone kind of is starting to have this feeling, or has had this feeling for a while, that the social part of social media is actually removing relationships in a lot of ways. And so community is so important. That's what we were made to be, I believe, in relationship with God first and foremost, but then secondly in relationship with other people. And so a healthy community spends time together face to face. Unhealthy community removes themselves from that actual hard work of relationships, and maybe we hide behind a screen and yell at each other, Not that anyone in our community would do that, or any of our community Facebook pages would ever have any sort of negativity. I'm talking about Elwood, obviously. But just kidding. But we got to spend time together. And so we want to do things that promote both not only relationship with God, but relationship with others too.
Yeah. So before we jump into kind of the emotional side of the holidays and, the not so glamorous sides, Christmas Eve is the 23rd. Yeah. Do you also have a Christmas Eve? Or?
We don't. So so this is a funny story. We used to have a Christmas Eve service, and I forget exactly why, but we moved to Christmas Eve for 1 year. That was 2 years ago. And then last year, I made a mistake. You should never do this, Pastor. I asked the church to vote if they preferred Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve. And I kid you not, it was 50-50.
Wow.
Literally exactly split 50-50. So we talked as a staff, and we kind of made the deciding vote. Are we? So that's
we're rolling. And yes, if you can hear, we are right on the corner of Jefferson and Main, and we get the occasional sirens. Yeah. But something major must be happening, because that's seriously. 2 in a row. But
anyways, so we have Christmas Eve service, and that's kind of from now on. And we just think it helps a lot of families have family things on Christmas Eve, and so they can just plan for this service on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
do that. So
it's really unique,
Yeah.
and I think you're tying in to make it more or less stressful. You talked about the peace of the holidays, and like for me, we have 2 family Christmases on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve service, Christmas the next morning. And a lot of times it is stressful. It's it's almost like, thankfully the holidays are over now because I can go back to,
list.
and that's not what it's meant to be. Right. So, trying to find ways to make it more enjoyable, less stressful for families. That's awesome to see. Yeah. So what time, I don't think we've said time for Christmas Eve yet.
6 o'clock.
Perfect.
Yep.
So 6 o'clock.
23rd.
23rd. Yep. Awesome. So for someone who maybe hasn't been part of a church for a long time or ever, is there a good first step to get involved or to reach out or to kind of explore that during the holiday season?
I would say, I'll answer and then I'll let you chime in, but I just want to make clear, we at Rock Prairie, and I know that other churches in our community feel this way as well, we're not in competition with other churches. We are not trying to get people, let's say, from one church to go to our church or what. We believe that. I mean, it's not a business, right?
Yeah.
We're all on the same team here, and so I would first of all just say, go online and look at different church websites. And most of them have a FAQ questions, and they can answer any questions, or you can just give a call or send an email to someone, and they can answer any questions you have. But just kind of what are you looking for? What size are you looking for? Are you comfortable with? What kind of service are you looking for? Is there a particular denomination that maybe you are familiar with? Or but I would say just kind of do some research, but ultimately. I would say it can be a scary first step, but take the first step and just go. And if you have a bad experience at one church, maybe try another church the next Sunday. But I would just say it is worth it to do hard things. And you never know how the Lord's going to use that first step of obedience in your life. And so, and what I would guess 9 times out of 10 is you'll find at the end of that experience, you'll say, I'm really glad that I did that. So, and again, Christmas, we expect to have many visitors at our church on our Christmas Eve service. And I know a lot of churches in our community too. So it's not like you're going to walk in and everyone's going to be like, whoa, who's the new guy? You know what I mean? It is. So it's a great opportunity to say, this will be, I'm going to try it. So,
yeah.
do you have anything to add?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, it's just one of those, you can view a service online, you know what I mean? You can do that and kind of get a feel for what that's going to be like.
Absolutely.
Although I'll just be honest, I think our live stream audio sucks. So it's not anybody's fault.
Don't judge the quality of the
mine,
worship team based on the live stream.
It's never supposed to be this, let's go see the show. You know what I mean? It's just, you can get an idea of what is the content. And there are other things. There's weekly Bible studies that someone could come to that they don't have to come to our church. There's a guy at our church who's put on something called Fireside for Men, and I think it happens every month. I haven't been able to go to every one of them, but the design is just for anybody, any guy to just come and hang out with other guys, maybe do a little activity, but just to enjoy conversation and ask questions, or share some hard stuff and get prayer. I mean, so it's completely, it's not at the church. I think it's changed locations a couple times, but things like that can be really helpful, and I believe that's on the website. Yep. So, but I mean, churches do things like that outside of the normal Sunday, and even our nativity. Is it every Saturday? There's somebody out there now. We're starting something different where there's a couple people out there to kind of help if someone has trouble with how do I go through the nativity projection thing, whatever, or questions afterwards, which is really neat. We didn't have that necessarily last year. So things like that.
Yeah. And to piggyback on what you said about not being in competition with other churches, we did plan on having, Ben, his name, from Oasis,
Church.
Which you saw if you watched our Thanksgiving message. Yep. So yes, we've had Pastor Mike on now twice, but we definitely are, and to credit you, you proactively tried to have Ben on with you. I think he's under the weather. So
Yep.
things happen. But
Sorry, Ben.
sorry, Ben. But you can have your time in the spotlight another time.
Well,
if
there's
you'd like.
Oasis is a great church as well. Trinity is a great church in our community. There's others, certainly, but I don't want to just name some. But but what I'm saying is we genuinely don't see ourselves as competing with other churches for people. We see ourselves as linking arms with other churches with a message that we want as many people as possible to be able to hear.
Yeah, which is really cool to hear, actually, because it ties into what we do here at Tipton One. Is we talk to a lot of businesses, and that's been the message from the small business owners in this community too. So it's cool to see that it goes beyond just the small business community. It really speaks to the full Tipton community as a whole, which is really cool to see.
What are some things that those small businesses are doing to kind of foster that?
I mean, just this past weekend, I guess it's airing this week. Yeah, this past weekend was the Ticket to Tipton, which Hortons organizes. Hortons does a great job at organizing events, but they invite all the other downtown businesses to be participants where, hey, go to each one of these businesses, get a ticket or a stamp or however they do it, and then come back at the end of the day for a chance to win a prize if you've visited all of these. So it's not just, oh, Hortons is going to put on this event. Good luck to everybody else. You'll probably get some more foot traffic. It's intentional of going around and supporting the other businesses too. Yeah. And they do that for, the first Fridays in downtown throughout the summer and things like that. And so just really cool to see Tipton as a whole community is really supportive of each other.
There are so many people in this community who love this community and have really unique and creative ideas to make our community thrive. It's really cool to be
It is. I think I've said this before. It's a very entrepreneurial based community. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going out and starting a business, but very creative thinkers and trying to find ways to get involved and do things and just make Tipton a better place for everybody. Yeah. So I think we're very lucky in that sense. But, kind of talking back to Christmas, and we've talked about the excitement that Christmas brings, and we've also talked about the stress that it can bring. There are people out there that the holiday season is stressful or they do struggle through it. So, as pastors, what are some of those common struggles that you see that people kind of go through that maybe Christmas isn't the best time of year for them?
Yeah. I don't know anyone with family struggles. Do you?
No, everybody has the perfect family.
Obviously, everyone listening to this you have a perfect. No, obviously, that can be something where you're one of two things: spending time with people that are difficult to spend time with, or not spending time with people because of past strife in the family, and that's hard. Loved ones that have passed away, right? Yeah. When you feel that empty seat at the table so much more deeply when it's times of year that like Christmas time or other holidays where you have those positive memories associated and now that person's gone. So there's as well as just the, again, that dichotomy between I want Christmas to feel like a Hallmark movie and yet here I am like elbowing someone at Walmart for this whatever stupid toy that I'm, it's like there's what our hearts want, and then there's kind of the cold reality of how the challenge it can be. So there's a lot of challenges that.
So loneliness is a big one, whether it's you've lost a loved one, you're in a new place for the first time because you took a new job and you don't have any friends and family. What would you encourage somebody to do who may be feeling lonely around the holidays this time of year?
I mean, so my immediate experience is Rock Prairie most of the time. So I just have to take that for a grain of salt. But something that I love about Rock Prairie is the life groups. So the life groups meet every Sunday morning, typically. There's some structure to that, but like they can get together on Sunday mornings with childcare or outside in other events. And in our life group alone, has it been four people have lost loved ones in the last year. Wow. And it's not something you want, but to go through those hard times with people like that, people all they want to do is just love on you and be there for you, bring meals. My family in particular has experienced loss, and the way our life group has come alongside us and continues to do that is truly special. So that's one of those things where I would say get in a life group. You know, for someone at Rock Prairie, I would definitely say just get in a life group, no matter where you're at, because these people will. I mean, it's crazy how God brings people together in the right place, the right time. Nobody's perfect. We all got our stuff, but people who can really be there for each other and encourage each other. And so, I mean, I suppose that's my main context.
Yeah.
It's hard. So we're not pastors because just this happens to be our job, and so now we gotta make sure to really promote the local church. Like we're pastors because we both believe down to our bones that the Christ working through the local church is the hope of the world, and so it is really hard to not answer that question in that context.
Absolutely.
And so this is not promoting just Rock Prairie Church, but I would say any church that teaches the Bible will say these exact same things. But what's just so unique about the local church as an organization is that as a structure, is that the word that the Bible uses to describe the church is a body, like a body. And it says the body has a lot of different body parts, and they all work and they all do their thing, but together they make up the body of Christ. And so when you're a part of a member of a local church, you're actually in a strange way bonded together with those people. And so the Bible again uses the language of family. So we're brothers and sisters in Christ. And so you, as hard as it can be, especially if you have family issues or family loss, you have a literal family. This isn't like a literal family if you're a part of a church body that can come alongside you. So I would just really urge someone, if someone's feeling that way right now, maybe you're listening to this and take this as a sign, to find a family, and you will be welcomed in to be part of that. So
yeah, and for people who may not the thought of going to a church or reaching out, it can be scary, yes. But the advice is still sound, whether it's a church life group or it's a group connected to the American Legion, or, just trying to find a group of people with like-minded thoughts, I guess, during this time is important. You don't have to go through it alone, but, you don't have to go to a church. There are other groups out there. There's, elder support groups and grief groups and things like that, or even if you're younger and your kid plays sports, reach out to some other parents. You don't have to go through it alone, whether it means going through a church or something else in the community.
Yeah, it's hard. Whenever Dan asks me to do this, I just think I don't want to just go on and preach it. I'm not preaching, but maybe I am. But so the Bible, the very beginning of the Bible, first 3 chapters show us what is the vision of what is life supposed to be like and what's the problem. And so what life is supposed to be, ultimately to find true, so what do we want at Christmas? Joy, peace, satisfaction, love. To find that, you need 2 things. It's a right relationship with God and a right relationship with other people. And so what you're describing is we need a right relationship with other people, and that is 100% right. And so to find ultimate peace in your heart, so just one or the other isn't going to do it. To find that ultimate peace, there needs to be both. But yeah, we can't discount the importance of relationship, and that again, I face to face, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're exactly right.
Turning to the Tipton Facebook group is probably not the best way to connect with.
Oh man, should we tell the story?
Let's
go for it. If you tease it, you have to tell it.
Right,
so one of the pastors of our church who's not at this table, and he will remain nameless, but it's Pastor Craig, and he went on the Facebook group the other day to ask advice about tires for his Subaru, and he got hammered hammered over and over and over again with, I don't even know. We just made fun of him endlessly at the staff meeting, but poor guy. So yeah, he learned the hard way that, I don't know if that was it the Tipton group? I don't know what it was, but
community.
I'm sure you can all go back and look at it if you want to. And now that's probably you're all going to if you're listening to this. So he learned the hard way. At least that's not.
Yeah. Hey, you ask about tires. Why do you need new tires?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. You can afford new tires, but you can't it's just like,
everyone's an expert. Yep,
it's crazy. So, we've talked about those experiencing and going through the hard times and the struggles during Christmas and the holidays. But for somebody who's listening who is in a better spot, but you know a friend or a family member who's struggling, what are some simple ways people can support their neighbors, their friends, family during this time when you know that they had a loved one that they lost this year, or they went through a breakup or whatever it may be?
Yeah. Reach out. I mean, it's just, as simple as that. You just don't know. I like to, whenever, I call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it whatever, but like whenever someone pops into my mind, like I should see how that person is. I'd never think that's an accident. And I tried my best to do that. And so if somebody's, even right now as you're listening, someone popping into your mind, I should check in with that person. Nobody's ever mad that somebody genuinely reached out because they love them and care about them. And so reach out. I would say practical things is don't just say, hey, let me know if I can do anything, because that puts the onus on that person to reach out to you, and they're going to, I don't want to bother them. So maybe say, hey, what if I brought you a meal on this day and we ate together? What if we went to this movie on this day? Give practical ideas for them to just say yes or no to, versus putting it on them to say, hey, let me know if, and that's the most natural, hey, thinking about you, let me know if there's anything I can do. Well, no one's going to actually say that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm feeling very lonely right now. Would you, like, nobody's going to say that. But if you actually give a practical thing, I think that can really mean a lot.
Yeah, because it is more of a burden on that person who's going through things, which could actually compound the issue and make it worse. You know, oh, I'm sitting here stressed, and money's an issue, family's an issue. Now I have to figure out, Mike reached out and wants to do something, but I don't know even what I want to do because I'm in this mindset. And so, that's great advice.
Enter in with the person. That's it.
So what's one thing you wish more people understood about the emotional weight of the holidays and what that weight can carry for people? You know, we talked about, obviously Christmas is a great time of year, but there's a lot of emotional weight around it.
Yeah. I think for some people, they just don't understand that. And so even just, I actually remember I used to be at a church in Iowa, and was having a meeting with my boss, who's the executive pastor. And I was telling about how excited I was for Christmas. And he looked at me, and he was like, you need to know, this is actually a really hard time for a lot of people. And there's a lot of people who they just can't wait for it to be over. And that really affected me and helped kind of shape how I think about it, because I was blessed to have a great family where Christmas was only positive memories for the most part. And so you can just assume that's how other people are coming into it as well. And so I think just having empathy and compassion to realize somebody else's experience might be very different than mine. So
if somebody is watching or listening right now and doesn't feel very hopeful heading into Christmas, this is your time to shine. What do you want to say directly to them?
Yeah. I've been talking a lot.
Oh, hope can only be found in Jesus. It doesn't matter if it's cliche. Like, at the end of life, there is hope after life, and it's only found in him. And so finding our deepest need is to know Jesus, to know that no matter what I have in my past, whatever baggage I come with, we've all done lots of things, all of that finds its remedy in Christ. Yep. Christ died for our weaknesses. He lived perfectly because we couldn't. And he came at Christmas time. We say Christmas time, but Christmas could have been June. I don't know. But he came. Yeah. He literally came, put himself into a human body, and had to be taught things. Yeah. But the ultimate goal of that was to grow, be like us, but not sin like us, and then die for us. That there's no other love that could be demonstrated than that right there. And if you have that, even in the hardest times, you know that this isn't all we have. This isn't just one more season of Christmas or one more time with family or time without family. Those who are in Christ have a hope that doesn't die. And that's what we believe. Yeah. And so if someone can come to that conclusion, that's an act of God. And that will produce hope that nothing else can, I believe.
Amen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a great wrap to this episode. Leave with some hope heading into the holiday season. We obviously have a couple of weeks, but end of the year, Christmas, finish with some hope in your life. And if you need to reach out, obviously David and Mike are great people to reach out to, but any church or any group in this community is awesome. Yep. So before we do wrap, where can people find out more information about everything that's happening at Rock Prairie?
Yep. Just on our website, rockprairie.net, should be a drop-down banner you click on. It has all the information right there. Also on Facebook. And Dan is going to just splice this with some just incredible B-roll footage that's also going to give you the information.
Absolutely. And like I said, the video did come out today, just doing kind of a preview of the nativity in the windows. So definitely go check out Rock Prairie's Facebook page as well to see that video. But David, Mike, thank you both so much for coming on, whether you wanted to or not. Really appreciate it. And really nice work with all the technical side of the nativity scenes. Yes. So if it happens to be down, this is another thing in the Facebook group.
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas tree lights went out for 60 minutes on Sunday. And people, if the nativity scene at the church happens to be down. It was the end of the world. Yeah. But don't blame David. Things happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you both again for joining us, and Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you.